Kanye West and Ty Dolla $ign finally released their collab album, Vultures 1, and after listening to it already like 3-4 times, I'm ready to rank every single song from the album using this tier list. We got best song candidate all the way to trash, and let's get right into it. We're going to be starting with Back to Me, which was the song featuring Freddie Gibbs. This is one of the best produced songs on the album, and Freddie Gibbs' verse, I mean, it's amazing. His lyricism is great, and I love the inflections he used towards the end of his verse onto certain words that really added to it. Next, we got Do It, which I think is definitely worse than Back to Me. Honestly, if the beat didn't change and have some added sounds to it towards the end, I think it would have been a little bit more boring, a little bit more average, but I do think it just sneaks into the good category. Next, we got Hood Rat. This song I do think is just average. I think it's less memorable. I don't think it stands Back to Me or even to a Do It. Next, we got Keys to My Life, which I think is easily a best song candidate. First one for that tier. This beat just has so many changes throughout the song that make it consistently entertaining throughout the whole track. Besides that, towards the end, you got a little Wu-Tang nod, which is always cool. The song just gives Life of Pablo vibes. Something about Kanye's cadence and his rapping style in the song makes it feel somewhat like St. Pablo, which I really enjoyed. Paid, honestly, was very repetitive for me, and so for that reason, we're going back to the average category. There weren't any glaring issues with it, that's why it's not even lower, but due to its repetitive nature, it felt kind of boring, and definitely doesn't stack up to a lot of the other songs on Vultures 1. Paperwork was the song featuring Quavo? Yeah. It featured Quavo, and that feature was great. It was one of the best ones on the album. With that being said, the rest of the song is kind of just there to me. I do like the guitars in that song and how it picks up the beat, gives some more energy and life to it. But I think it's just a good track. I don't think it's as good as Back to Me. Stars, on the other hand, is an amazing track. It's a great intro to drag you into the album. It's such a atmospheric song, large in part due to the production, once again, which is amazing. There's these washed vocals in the background that sound really, really nice. Also, I think this is Ty Dolla $ign's best singing performance. He really hits those high notes well. Sounds nice to the ear. And we got Talking, which is an interesting one because I'm not trying to listen to Northwest, and it's not why I was interested in this album. I do think North's voice could use some work. I don't think it's too amazing by any means, but she's also like 12. And honestly, I don't think that was the point of the song. It's just a novelty song that's wholesome because you got Kanye and his daughter working together. So it's always hard to rank these songs, but I just can't put it in the same category as something like Paid or Hood Rat, because I'll actually go back and listen to those. I'm not going to put it in trash, though, because, like I said, it is kind of wholesome and cool. We're just going to go not good with it. Beg Forgiveness, I'm going to go average. It's honestly kind of a snooze fest. There's not a lot going on in this song. It's way too long. And at the end of the day, it is a cover of another song where not much is being changed except for the people who are singing it, which is a little unfortunate. And it's going to make it worse than a lot of the other songs on this album. It's average, but it's barely average. Hood Rat and Paid are both better, in my opinion. Carnival, though, on the other hand, is not only a best song candidate, but one of the best songs of 2024 so far. The sounds in the song are just so unique and refreshing. It makes for a very unpredictable song. And these unpredictable tracks always add to the album experience for me, make it more interesting and exciting. Besides that, the features are crazy. You got Rich the Kid, who I didn't even know was still doing anything, but he's on here sounding great. And then you got Playboi Carti's verse, which is one of the best on the album. He's going insane. I will say some of Kanye's verse was a little bit corny, a little bit cringe, a little bit weird, but this song has so much good about it that it overpowers any corniness from Kanye. Next, we got Fuck Some, where you got another pair of features which are amazing from Travis Scott and Playboi Carti. Carti was really doing this thing on this album, but I think this is the best song candidate easily. Travis Scott's feature, he had the hook on this song, which is very catchy and memorable, and honestly, I think this is one of the songs that I'll go back to the most. Based off my first couple listens, I do think it'll have a lot of replayability for me. Next, we got Good Don't Die, which was one of the more emotional tracks off this album. It's very atmospheric as well, similar to Stars, large in part due to the amazing sample from Donna Summer, where she's singing in this very high, beautiful voice. I'm going to go Amazing. It was one of my favorite tracks off the album, but I don't think it's to the level of Carnival or Keys to My Life or the songs in that tier. Okay, King was a frustrating one because in my opinion, it perfectly symbolizes Kanye's biggest problem from the outside looking in, and the fact that he'll say something like awful or have a horrible opinion, and then somehow, if he has a good album or has a large fan base, that validifies every horrible opinion he has. And you could really see that when he says, "Oh, I'm crazy, I might be an anti-Semite, but I'm still the king." It's a horrible way of thinking. It just is. It's very destructive. It's the reason why so many people don't like him. And it's the reason why it's hard for me to like him at points, even though he's my favorite artist of all time. Now, I don't like the subject matter, obviously, but sonically, I do still think the production is of high quality. Now, his singing is a little awkward at points, so that's going to drag it down still. I'm thinking not good for this one. It's worse. It's worse than Hood Rat Paid and Beg Forgiveness by far. It was one of the worst songs on the album, in my opinion. And next we got Problematic, which is a complete 180. This was one of my favorites. I'm thinking more Amazing than Best Song Candidate. Once again, just don't think it's on the same level as like a Carnival. But I love the crescendos and just how this beat culminates into these major climaxes. It adds a really cool dramatic effect to the song. At the end of the track, Kanye also adds a little nod to, I think, So Appalled off of MBDTF, which is cool. That's nice. I like that. Now, Vultures, Kanye and Travis Scott just have a thing of making their singles like the worst song on the album. Vultures is not good. It's easily not good. Kanye's verse is probably the most cringe, corny verse on this whole album. I don't know why he made this the single. I thought Ty Dolla $ign's section was sleepy. Honestly, every performance on Vultures was kind of boring, except Lil Durk's feature. That was pretty good, high energy. But overall, the song was definitely worse than like every other song on this album for the most part, except maybe King. And lastly, we got Burn, which I thought was the best song candidate. We're ending it off very well. It's one of Kanye's best rapping performances on this album, and I like the aesthetic of this song. It really gives the feeling of a song from Kanye's earlier catalog with how it's so upbeat. It feels like almost like a song off the College Dropout or Late Registration. That being said, this is my full ranking for the songs off of Vultures. Let me know what you think, if you agree, if you disagree, what you change.